Previously on the last door. After escaping from his burial, David finds himself in a cellar in London's darkest slum, the old Nickel Rookery. In his pocket, he has a ticket for a show called The Four Witnesses. David walks through the misty streets following a strange man who seems to guide him. He learns the legend of Simurg, the king of birds. Following its trail through a dreamlike land of fog, David finally meets Alexandre, a member of the secret group David and his friends had at school. Alexandre welcomes David and speaks of an entity called the Bird that has been calling them ever since the experiment they conducted back then. The Bird is the word. Everybody knows about it, and there is no turning back. I have made my mind. I'm ready. Go on. Do it. Do it. Do it! Welcome to Chapter 4, the final chapter of The Last Door. I hope all of you have been enjoying this mini LP marathon, and I hope you enjoy this edition. I figured we could use a little point-and-click adventure. And this one has a fantastic story. Can you see all the stars twinkling in our black outer abyss? In the black outer abyss. All the constellations traced by human eyes in long-distant eras. Look now to the forest and the valley, to the old tower, from the last tree in the distance to the stars in the sky. And even the stones beneath our feet are just silhouettes that hide the truth from our poor senses. Ancient shadows that hang over the veil that hide the world, as if it were a curtain of a theater. The veil separates the truth from the lie. The veil is a place, David. A place of mist. Anthony's great abilities brought you here, but his influence will soon fade away. The mask of lies will descend over your eyes once again. You must find the door, as I did. The door that gives passage through the veil. Open it, and we will walk together beyond the mist. I suppose you're wondering why I called you so urgently. I cannot deny it. The letter was truly mysterious. I've been traveling, Doctor, to Scotland. Have you heard about the massacre of St. Gall? Well, yes. The tragic event has been the continued object of speculation with grim rumor in every newspaper in England. For weeks now, pamphlets have claimed that all kinds of macabre things took place. But I don't understand. How is this all connected with my patient? He was there. I'm afraid he is one of the victims. Dear God. Are you telling me my patient has been murdered? Murdered? Thankfully, no. Please excuse me for alarming you. I did not mean to give this impression. Ed Devitt was attacked but survived. What was Devitt doing there? Many years ago, the St. Gall Hospital was a boarding school. It appears that both your patient and Mr. Beechworth seemed a part of their youth together there. We can assume that David was investigating something. He believed he had found a clue related to his friend's death.
What happened to him then?
It seems the criminal was caught by Divot in the midst of an act, and he tried to do the same thing to Divot that he had done to the others. Fortunately, the nuns arrived in time to unearth him from the coffin. Divot was hospitalized. The nurses report that he remained unconscious for an entire day.
What was the cause of those awful deaths?
No one knows for sure. The victims were inflicted with terrible wounds. All of them had an expression of utmost terror on their faces.
I suspect you did not find Mr. DeVitt in the hospital.
Indeed, he was already gone by the time I arrived. I have not been able to determine his whereabouts since.
I see. What conclusions do you draw from all these circumstances?
I have some theories, but I prefer not to reveal them until the events are unfolded. In all of them, there is a fundamental element whose role has not yet been revealed.
And what leads you to this conclusion?
There's something that the Holy Sisters found beside Divot within the coffin. An empty hypodermic needle with traces of an unknown substance. A substance known as ghetto juice. Welcome to the Ancient Shadows of the Ghetto, Episode 4. I'm sure this is the place. Alexandre's house must just be ahead. It's latched. I can't open it from this side. No one is answering. Perhaps I go inside anyways. I'll just tell the household that I'm an old friend come to visit. Footsteps. There must be someone upstairs. Getting the hell out of here. There's a large iron bar latching the door. It's quite odd that the door is latched from the outside. Oh, wait. Hello? Hello? Is anyone in here? Hello? I can hear you. Who's that? Who's there? Come out and show yourself. Come out now. Don't make me call my friend Lug Lug. I think I peed my pants a little. It's getting really quiet in here. I could hear a mouse fart. Hello? Alexandre! I don't want to talk to you yet. It's an oil lamp. Those come in handy. It's a diary. It's the last thing written. The last pages have been ripped off. October 12th, 1887. It's been a while since I can't devote any time to this diary for reasons beyond my control. And even most tragic has taken place in this house. Mr. Dupre has gotten ill, immersed in an everlasting stupor from which he seems he shall not return any time soon. Since the accident, I patiently take care of him. The doctor's treatments don't seem to do any good. I feed him like a child and make sure that all the sculptures in the house are turned toward the wall. What else can I do? October 13th. The clockmaker just left. He has done such a good job. In the end, Mr. Dupre is not going to be able to notice the changes in the clocks that he had so insistently requested. In his state, time will not be a problem anymore. This looks like the diary of a member of Alexandre's household. What's happened to them? The pantry with spices and ingredients. The cellar door's locked. I need a key to open it. An ancient stone well. A rope hangs inside, disappearing into the darkness below. I'm gonna take that shit. The rope's broken. I'll keep this end. Alexandre! It's me, David. I'm sorry if I startled you. Is everything alright? Why are you sitting in a wheelchair? Are you hurt, maybe? Can you stand? He is staring blankly at some distant point, as if he's not heard my question at all. You told me I should come here, and I came as soon as I could. Can you tell me what's happening? He gives no answer, but persistently stares at something nearby. He appears to be in some kind of hypnotic trance. When I was downstairs, I could have sworn I heard footsteps. Were they yours, or someone else in this house? For a moment, I felt a flash of hope that he was looking at me, but he's unresponsive. Alexandre, please say something. I don't know what to do. I don't understand. Just what has happened to him? He's a vegetable. There's some scribbled annotations in this piece of paper. The veil is something we sense in our innermost being incessantly. In vain do we waste our lives, carving to tear through. It is Zaithal, the curtain behind which the great winged beast, inside its ancient mist, inhabit the shadows of those who left. Huge chest made of oak wood. I'm gonna open that shit. There's a large hook inside. I'm gonna take that hook. There's a fragment of a diary under the hook. I'm gonna read that shit. I can't wait in the basement anymore. Those wretched sculptures, I feel them stalking me in the darkness. I know it's not possible, but I can hear the crunches, the flapping wings, stone grinding on stone, the frozen paroxysms With the diabolical art were those gestures conceived? An internal movement, a tension, an impossible struggle to get back the life they'd never had. I might place them outdoors in the greenhouse and let the mold devour them, and wasps make next of their hollow hearts. That was really intense. I can make a grappling hook. Awesome. Looks like some kind of red-tinted glass covered to use as a mask lamp. It's completely shattered on the floor. The glass jar containing the yellow substance. The label reads cyanide. I'm taking that cyanide. There's a big book of home chemistry recipes. A few pages have been bookmarked and some articles underlined. 3149. Collodion for photography. Collodion is the vehicle by which the photographic chemicals are united upon the surface of the glass and the sensitive coating produced. Many formulae are published for this article, in which great value is attached, some supposing that it's a peculiar composition, belong to the principal causes of failure or success. This is only in a degree true. To develop a positive image, this is done by pouring upon the plate 1 ounce of vitriol spirit solution, and only then adding 5 or 6 drops of cyanide acid. Then the plate must be thoroughly washed in water to remove any excess of chemicals. They would almost require a chapter by themselves for the causes of failure, but long experience convinces us that 9 out of every 10 failures occur from a want of care, the presence of dirt, negligence. One cannot be over nice, careful, or cleanly. The best results always rewarding the most painstaking. If a mistake is made in the order specified in the formula, quickly flow clean water over the plaque and start again. You must be a boss at this. And instruments whose workings are beyond my knowledge. No, we read that. We're good. A lamp's hanging from the ceiling. Its bulb casts an intense white light. I got about a light bulb. A large envelope of black felt covered in dust and ashes. It's labeled with a warning. Do not open under white light. It's a letter. Dear Alexandre, I have excellent news. A contact from the university has given me access to the 12th century alchemical tome containing an amazing formulary. There's no doubt that sometimes mere contemplation takes the mind to places that otherwise it would have never visited. Leafing through our grimoire and marveling at the exquisite illumination of its pages, I have been struck by a sudden epiphany, a radical but elegant method that I have decided to try. Forgive me for not providing any information about the method itself. As soon as I get the definite results, I'll write you immediately. I believe fortune has truly smiled upon us this day. Videte niqui siat. June 8, 1887. Here's an invoice. May this document serve as a record of payment made corresponding to the following work. The cuckoo clock mechanism has been modified to give strokes exclusively at 6:15 in the afternoon. In addition, special device and a switch have been added to synchronize all clocks in the house. This pane looks as if it has been broken from the inside. A statue of an angel with its wings spread. Its head is missing. A jar of vitriol oil. I must be careful, it's a powerful acid. The corpse of a deer, its abdomen torn open. It looks recently dead. Now the bulb is grossly covered in blood. That's nasty shit. Within the mud and dirt inside the bucket, there was a small bird of brass. Strangely enough, there doesn't seem to be any water in the well. Get some creepy ass red light happening here. Oil has caused a strong acidic reaction. I've applied the liquids in the correct order. All that remains is to rinse the plate. And once the cyanide is applied, it's almost done. An image appears on the plate. It's a photograph of Anthony and Alexandre. Holy shit balls! That was not cool. Alexandre, do you recognize this photograph? Take a look. It is you and our old friend Anthony, and there's someone else blurred in the background. Who is the third figure? Does he mean something to you? Bird awaits. It's a piece of a clockwork hand. I've put the clock hand in place. I only need to set the clock to the correct time. The sound came from upstairs.
Zythal! Zythal!
The bird's burst out at the stroke. Now its beak is open. There's a key inside the bird. Holy shit. Molding dust cover the portrait, making the subject indistinguishable. This piece of furniture has several drawers. Inside one, there's a gardening shovel. Take that shit. Looks like someone has died here. I'm gonna dig him up. I got some acid for that lock. The skeletal fingers of the creature are clutching a rolled up canvas. It's a map of the stars. The remains of a humanoid body, but with a grotesque animal aspect. Maybe a small ape. There's a collar with some engraved words on it. Old Mike. Interesting. Besides the corpse, a paper leaf. Dear Alexandre, undoubtedly your methods are definitely stronger than mine. How do you manage to get results with such alacrity? On another note, my epiphany with the treatise of alchemy was not accidental. When examining the text closer, I have come to the conclusion that for a time, Raymundus Lully sought the same thing as we did. In his account, he describes a formula that he calls Hopo. Yes, like the legendary bird. It closely resembles the serum for which we have worked so far, except for minor differences. It's a pity what you tell me about old Mike. I hope he gets better soon. Vide te ni qui siat.
Oh, that doesn't sound good.
Oh god, that sounds like Alexandre. Alexandre! Some diary pages on the wheelchair. The paper's ripped apart as if someone stripped it off the book hastily. October 31st, 1891. I'm writing in this light under my desk lamp, hoping to be able to remember it all when the birds finally sing and the sun's blessing dispels the dark shadows of my mind. During the whole afternoon, a strong wind hit the valley, so strong that it cracked the larger branch of an old oak in the garden. I find it hard to get sleep during these nights, so I read a lot while accompanying the professor. I don't really know exactly when I fell asleep. I was awakened by the chill of the night, which was seeping through an open window. I looked outside and I saw him. The professor was miraculously awake. What was my joy to see him standing on the balcony, watching over the valley with a true serene expression, enjoying the fresh and calm air right after the storm. I felt that for a blessing had fallen upon this house, and for a moment I felt immensely happy. I stared at him for a while without saying anything, being afraid of dispelling a vision I hadn't believed possible for a long time. And then in the midst of the silence I heard a sound that froze me in my seat and snatched all my calmness with such a terrible chill that I will never forget. A loud noise beside me, low-pitched as the drag of a slab. Mr. Alexandre's snore, who was pleasantly sleeping in his bed. I've already made a decision. I'll leave this house. Because shit's a little crazy around here. A statue holding something. It's a lens mounted in a metal ring. I'm taking that shit. Huh? What the hell was that? I think I just shit myself. Ancient statues in poor condition. A book written in a language unknown to me. There's a scrawled annotation written in English, in one of the margins. This and no other in its function of the serum we've manufactured at boarding school when we were young. It is something that we didn't understand at the time to accompany the mind to the proscenium of the big theater, and there help us look behind the curtain that separates the world of men from the land of truth. To look, I say, if anything, to apprehend an image of what lives there. Just that. Will the hopo allow us to raise the curtain enough to walk off the stage and go beyond? I don't know. A huge cage full of leftovers and dirt. Animals have been captive here. Jars and test tubes, everything soaked in chemical residues, and the air is filled with the smell of vinegar. A bunch of dust-covered beakers with repulsive liquids. A few of them have developed fungi inside. Holy shit. An envelope with a letter inside. I'm terribly sorry about old Mike. Will you put him to rest in your favorite place? After weeks of unsuccessful attempts, I've managed to distill the alchemical formula based on the notes you've sent me. Certainly you're a master of this craft. The subject reacted to the serum as usual, rapidly entering into a state of waking sleep. Suddenly, the convulsions stopped, and since then, he's not been responding to any kind of stimulation. He's remained in this state for many days. My diagnosis is brain dead, which should be our next step, Alexandre. I'm worried this could be the end of our research. A wooden secretary desk, beautifully carved. The flip top has no knob or lock, just some strange symbols. There's a small cabinet with 2 slots for syringes. Only one of them remains. I take that. The voice again comes from the bottom of the pit. Alexandre? You need this more than I do. This is what you asked me to search for, is it not, Alexandre? Am I right?
The last door.
The last door we can cross together. What should I do?
I'm waiting for you. Here in the mist. It's nearby. I can hear it.
What's nearby? What do you hear?
I hear the beating of its wings. It knows we are afraid.
I'm ready.
Sit down.
Ow.
Do you think that we will find any clue here about De Witt's whereabouts?
The police must have taken almost everything, but we have no other leads to pursue. Hopefully they have overlooked something.
What about this room?
There's a sealed letter between this table and the wall. It looks like Herr Beechworth never sent it. I think it's best that you read it.
Dearest Alexandre, please you must reflect on this. We do not yet know what we are dealing with. If you were to open the door, it may stay that way, an open way for whatever lives on the other side.
And that's it. The adventure continues in Season 2. Alright, folks, that wraps it up. Hope you enjoyed this quick little point-and-click adventure game. There are extras that we can do. The Morgue, Death Sentence, Wander in the Fog, Beechworth's Wake, tiny mini adventures. We'll save those for another video, though. As usual, thanks for watching, and see you next time.